Hi there, it's Bill with the Doomer Bloomer podcast. Now, if you're a listener to the show, you know that I've been doing this for a long time. But now there's an easier way to make a podcast. If you haven't heard about Anchor, let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer or phone. The Anchor app will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Cheers.
Hello, everybody. This is John Wynn, and my co-host here, Mr.
Billete.
And this is the Doomer Bloomer podcast. Hello, folks. We're here to ring your ears again with our unsolicited opinions. So, without further ado, I'll let our friend Bill here tell us what we're talking about, and we will get this show on the road.
All right. Episode 13.
Yeah, man. Lucky 13.
Lucky 13.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna talk about having a rich versus poor mindset, and does being rich make you a bad person? Which has come up as a topic of conversation recently. What celebrity would you like to meet and interview? And John and I will talk about our top two choices. And Thomas Edison versus Nicola Tesla, and the war of the currents, DC electricity versus AC, and where we're at 120 years later.
Yeah.
If we have time, we're gonna touch in on Jordan Peterson, maybe give a brief update. And is love a force of nature or a chemical reaction?
Yeah, we might talk about that too. Well, we'll see. We'll see how our ramblings go from here on out. But let's start with Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison. Now, this is your field of activity, like you work in everything electrical related.
Yeah.
I know actually that Tesla worked for Edison at one time.
Correct.
And Edison was a proponent of direct current only, which would be like we wouldn't be able to have all the electricity we have today if we only relied on direct current, right?
Well, and think direct current like a battery in your car, but it can't travel very far.
Exactly. You'd have to have like an electrical station almost like every block type of thing, right?
Yeah. The Edison's idea was to have a generating station within a kilometer or two of every town or city.
Yeah. Okay.
And directly transmit power from that station to your house.
Yeah, like every house would have to be individually connected to the station, correct?
Yes, it wouldn't have had. At that time, we were limited by the technology of the time. So we're talking like the late 1800s, early 1900s, early 19th century.
Yeah, and the other alternative, no pun intended, was alternate current. And Tesla, if I recall correctly, kind of combined the two together and actually solved that issue.
Well, originally Tesla was hired for, don't correct me if I'm wrong, but $50,000 US dollars at the time in order to perfect Thomas Edison's direct current motors.
Yes, that's what I recall too.
Right, and what happened is Thomas Edison literally screwed him, or he led him on to the point thinking he was going to get paid, and then basically yanked the carpet out from under Nikola Tesla at the last minute. So Tesla went on his own and made a deal with Westinghouse to supply generators to Westinghouse in the Niagara Falls project. And Niagara Falls hydroelectric dam is one of the first hydro dams ever conceived. And that was at the turn of the 19th century.
Yeah. And I think that's when, and I think like one of his falling out is like Tesla wanted to create an alternative to just a direct current type of infrastructure.
Well, in the article that I have here, in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair, they decided to power the World's Fair with AC electricity, alternating current. But at the time, Thomas Edison tried to have a smear campaign where he fried. There's even a video of it. You can find it where he fries an elephant.
Holy shit!
And also, that's why electric chairs were invented as a scare tactic to try to convince the public that alternating current was dangerous.
Yeah.
The reason that alternating current works is for long distance transmission. If you step the voltages up to higher values, you have less of a current loss, and consequently less of a power loss for long distances. So for long distance transmission, it makes the most sense. It's the most practical.
But is it like, correct me if I'm wrong, I might remember like what I've seen on Tesla and by extension Edison was quite a whiles away, but isn't like the model now a combination of alternate, like it's AC/DC, right? It's alternate current mixed with direct current.
Yes, because right now, because this is skipping ahead a few decades, but in 1948, the insulated gate transistor was invented. So at the time when Edison was trying to devise a way to change DC to higher voltages, the technology didn't exist. There was no way to step it up to higher voltages safely.
Gotcha.
Now we have a way of doing that using transistors, like very large transistors. And that's, and that technology is in everything from computers to microchips, you name it. So at the macro level, the small, big level. So at the macro level, we use AC. So at the generating station, it's going to be hydroelectric dams, alternating current is transformed there, stepped up, and then transmitted to your house. Once it gets to your house, it's stepped back down. So at your wall outlet, it's 120 volts. And then at a computer level, it's about 18 to 24 volts DC. So at the micro level, we're using DC again. But in certain instances where they want to transmit DC electricity, if they step it up to extremely high voltage, we're talking like 1,000,000 volts DC, that is actually more efficient than alternating current, but it requires very large power stations, transformer stations in order to do that.
Gotcha.
It kind of ties in nicely to what I kind of do now. Like I work on wind turbines. And the wind turbine is like you said, a combination of an alternating current machine and a direct current machine. Because the wind is not steady like hydro or natural gas or coal. We can't control a
rotate. It has to be stored, right?
Well, not stored per se, but it has to be stepped. It has to be set through a power circuit that scrubs the power. It cleans it up.
Okay.
Because in North America, we have to match the frequency of the grid, and the frequency of the grid in North America is 60 cycles per second or 60 hertz. So to have clean power when we generate using wind, we have to put it through a set of transistors essentially that scrub the power, make it clean, and put it out a clean signal onto the grid.
Now, for instance, like if you say there's already an oversupply of electricity, I mean, this is not my field, so I'm not super knowledgeable about it. But if there's an oversupply of electricity, and then all of a sudden there's like this all these winds that generate an overflow of electricity at the turbines. Now, do you guys like store this in like some type of battery or um,
Uh, in
you know?
in some instances, yes,
Okay.
but generally speaking, what is generated, at least in North America, it goes directly to the grid.
Okay.
And what it's different in British Columbia compared to Alberta because you have a shared power pool. So you
Yeah.
can at different times of the day, like say peak power versus off peak power.
Uh-huh.
So when people come home from work, whatever, they're turning on lights, turning on stoves.
Yeah.
That's like 5 p.m. There's a big demand for power.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the reason why we have an interconnected grid is for electrical stability.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
the
And this spans across the whole continent.
all of North America, yes.
Wow. Wow. Crazy.
So it's divided into sections actually.
Yeah.
So where we're living, me and John per se, we're in the northwest grid. So we're actually connected to BC, Alberta, Manitoba, all the way across,
Nice.
all four provinces, and also part of the United States. The top western United States is also connected to that grid as well,
Mm.
and then
Oregon, Washington, and so on.
Oregon, Washington
Montana.
are connected to that grid,
Yeah.
and then California has its own separate grid with Nevada, I believe.
Yeah.
It's all broken into blocks and sections. I'd have to bring up a
I
diagram.
saw a documentary about Enron.
Yeah.
You're familiar with Enron, right?
They collapsed. I remember that much.
Yeah, yeah, they're dead, but they were basically a financial energy company. So they're the ones that were playing the markets with electricity, oil, coal, and all that. I heard that. Um, so one of the ways they were generating profits fraudulently is they would actually artificially collapse the grid in California. So there would be like power blackouts out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and that would make the cost of electricity go up. And then they would place their bets, knowing that that's exactly what would happen. So they would buy the electricity when there was an overflow, collapse the grid, wait for the electricity price to go up, and sell it wholesale at a profit. No wonder that company went bankrupt, man. What a corrupt fucking company, man.
BC Hydro does exactly the same thing.
You think so?
They have
BC, man. Yeah, just like you just look at ICBC, all these new fees they keep on adding all the time, and
we're supposed
these
to.
new laws and all that stuff.
Well, you have to remember it's a government corporation that has been the
A
monopoly,
monopoly, yeah.
right?
Did you hear like about these new laws that now even turning on your stereo in BC can warrant you a ticket if you're driving?
Oh yeah,
So
you can't drive with your windows open, coffee, anything anymore.
that is insane, man. Yo, like I really believe that if a political candidate in BC would just like run as one of its main tenets that we need to get rid of this ICBC monopoly, that just with that alone, he'd be able to win an election.
I don't honestly see ICBC going away, but
No,
how
I don't think so either, because I don't think like it's too powerful. It's too. I mean, it's a money maker for the province, right? So
what they've actually tried to do, I've just seen this come up recently, is they want to cut out the middleman, which is lawyers.
mm,
So if you get in an accident in BC starting in next year of 2021,
yeah,
depending on what the accident is, you're just going to have a rated scale. So you get a front bumper dinged or whatever, you get this much money.
yeah.
It's just going to be a scaled system.
Well, my sister has lawyers involved as we speak with ICBC. So this happened in 2017. It shouldn't affect her, though, right?
I think it'll be grandfathered in.
Yeah, because
It'll be just going with new claims going forward after 2021.
Yeah, they made her an offer of like, because she can't walk. Like, she just had back surgery after close to 3 years, and she might be screwed for life. And ICBC, to try to sweep it under the rug, just offered her 40 grand, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh, and I mean, like, as of now, already, like, my sister is making probably, depending on the year, between 40 and 60 grand a year, when she was working. I mean, 40 grand is a piss in the ocean, compared to that. And if they decide, oh no, we have a fixed rate now for your shit, and we only give, like, say, $50,000 for that type of injury. I mean, that would be like one of the biggest ripoffs, in my opinion. No, man, I really don't like what ever since I got there, I really don't like what they're doing, man. It's horrible.
Well, it's like the old adage says: "Is British Columbia, bring cash."
Yeah. I
And
mean, like, seriously, getting a ticket for having a coffee.
yeah.
I mean, that's like 90% of the traffic in Vancouver. Like, no radio, no, like what the fuck? Like, all these cars come with all these options.
Yep.
And no GPS. Like, if you're not from Vancouver, how the fuck are you going to get around Vancouver when you don't know that city without a GPS? It's not like you're allowed to pull out a map now or something.
No, right. Maps are obsolete.
Yeah.
Just like DC Current, remember?
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I know we discussed the semantics, to get back to that subject. We did discuss, like, the different types of electricity they were working on and all that, but we didn't really discuss it in depth before starting. I guess you wanted to compare, like, their personalities between Edison and Tesla also.
Uh, sure. I mean, my understanding is Edison was more of a businessman and Tesla was
Yeah.
more of the scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I mean, Edison, from what I see, he definitely had a science background, and he was knowledgeable in the field and all that. But I think it was foremost an entrepreneur. And
He went on to found General Electric, right?
your company,
Which is one of the largest, one of the longest standing on the stock exchange and one of the largest companies in the world.
yeah.
So his legacy is over 120 years old.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people hate now on Edison, but I mean, he, like, scientists, and like Tesla, is definitely like a pure scientist. He really didn't even care about cash, except for the funding of his projects.
Well,
and later in life, he got, like, he kind of fell into hubris, right? He thought he could, like, power the whole world with, like, wireless electricity and all that, and he was definitely a super genius. However, he had no. He was only obsessed about his studies and his work. He was, like, completely blinded by that. So you can hate Edison. I do understand the hate that Edison can get, but it's because of people like him that saw an opportunity, and, yeah, he made money off of it, but definitely made our lives a lot better in doing so, right?
I'm gonna put a link in the description to the Nikola Tesla Museum, just for people who want to know more. But I'm just gonna read a quote here real quick by Nikola Tesla, and then. So, electrical science has revealed to us the truth of nature of light, has provided us with innumerable appliances and instruments of precision, and has thereby vastly added to the exactness of our knowledge. So Nikola Tesla really didn't patent any of his ideas, and that's the big difference between him and Edison.
Yeah.
Like you said, he was more of a pure scientist for the joy of creation. But everything you see around you in the modern world was pretty much at some point devised, at least in theory, by Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
The modern world was basically powered by his theories.
Yeah, I think even the radio, right? the first inventor of the radio got sued, I think, at one point by Tesla or Tesla's estate, and they actually won. But by that time, Tesla was dead.
Yeah, the Marconi.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's all built like, but that's how science works, right? It builds on what came before, what preceded you, right?
Yep.
You take ideas from magnetism, from Faraday, and you put those together, and somehow you get an electric generator.
Mm-hmm.
But did Faraday invent the electric generator? No, but he did come up with pioneering some of the science that was the theory behind how electric generator works.
Yeah, yeah. Science is like the Earth's crust, right? You got the mantle, and then you've got like all these different layers of sediment until you get the surface of what we know globally today.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, this is, like I said, it's been my field now for close to 7 years. It's I don't know. It's a topic near and dear to my heart. And yeah, like I said, I got back from training not that long ago in the United States, and I've been to the original site of Thomas Edison's first factory. You know,
Oh wow, nice.
You can't deny that Thomas Edison had a part in making Teslas and, you know, those inventions mainstream and part of our world.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah. God bless them both.
God bless them both.
So, let's switch gears here. What should we talk about next? Well, speaking of like the pure scientist and the pure poor scientist and the rich business person, you had a discussion with someone.
More like about, more like what do you call that? A Twitter
a Twitter flame war. I know that's a very old flame war. No one says that anymore.
I had a Twitter flame war yesterday or this early last night.
Yeah, go on.
With a mutual friend of ours. We're not going to name any names, but the gist of the discussion was, does being rich make you a bad person?
Mm-hmm.
And I argued no, but I want you to play devil's advocate tonight, John.
Sure. Well, we had you pretty much know my stance on it, my core stance, if you will, but I'll play devil's advocate, if you will. I mean, we had a podcast, one of our earlier episodes where we talked, does absolute power corrupt absolutely, right? And it's definitely a temptation. And if you're ultra rich and you can get every whim you have satisfied and buy people and have a whole bunch of sycophants around you, if you're not wise and you have a lot of unresolved shit within you, it can definitely accentuate those things. But just like we said, it'll amplify a lot of your aspects, good or bad. But poverty will do that too. You know, I think the only reason why it's like in vogue now to yell at the rich and all that is it's because we live in this victim mindset society, be it because of your color, your orientation, if you're a minority of some sort, be it class-wise, religious, so on and so on, you can always point to the rich or to the people that have, if you're a have-not, to blame all your problems. But I mean, I'm doing pretty good now, but I know what abject poverty can do to the soul too, right?
Wow.
I mean, poverty will bring out the beast in you. Like you don't care. Like if you have no money and you're, especially if you're submerged in drugs and alcohol and all that. I mean, you'll do anything for your next fix or whatnot. You don't care who you hurt in the process. You know, you'll steal, rob, lie your way just to get that little piece of money. You'll sell your soul for $20. You know, it's just that the impact is not as big. But poverty, like being poor. Now, if you're poor, it, that doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. But let's be real, there's not one poor person that's content of being poor. They at least want to have enough money to not worry about where they're going to get their next meal or whatever is important to them in their life. Uh, so uh, being rich can corrupt, but if you're a decent human being, I think being rich can do far more good than bad.
Yeah. I was gonna have touch on a point you said there, but I just want to jump in. Maybe because my tweet was about Jeff Bezos, right? The CEO of Amazon. But if you look at some other similar people in similar affluence levels, let's say Elon Musk, Bill Gates, on a lesser extent, maybe even Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger does a lot for community outreach, whether it be his after kids school programs, and right now, he's looking into and trying to get action towards the homelessness problem in Los Angeles.
I thought you said homeless.
The homeless, that's right. The homo.
Not enough homos here.
The homeless problem in Los Angeles, or the abject poverty in Los Angeles, and how people are failing in that state, in that city, and at the federal level.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of affluent people in the world, that they take a lot from society, and at a certain point, I believe that they should be giving back. But like you said, rich doesn't necessarily make you a bad person. It just tends to amplify the characteristics in yourself you already have.
And I would say, now it depends from where you come from. I mean, if you already come from a rich family and everything was kind of given to you on a silver platter. But me and my girlfriend, we made ourselves a deal. We're only going to consider having kids when me and her together have a net worth of over $1 million. And one of the reasons for that is to get to that point, especially considering where we came from, both of us. Different backgrounds, but we both had pretty harsh backgrounds. Well, it proves that it would prove to us that if we're able to surmount all those odds and have that strength of will to get to where we want to be and then bring a kid into this world, well, we have a lot more to give that child when it comes to raising, like, in wisdom and all that, than someone that just had a kid randomly and they don't even have their shit together and it's just going to transmit a poverty mindset.
Well, that's exactly the point that I was going to try and make to my friend, but I didn't want to overstep my bounds.
Yeah.
Because I try and keep up with people, but what I found about this particular person, and I don't want to name any names, is that they're stuck in that cycle and poverty mindset. And rather than taking personal responsibility, which I think is imperative, especially as an adult, to stop
Yeah.
blaming other people for your problems and take responsibility.
Yeah.
Unless you are 100% accountable for your actions, your words, and your thoughts and mindsets in this world, you're always going to be stuck where you are.
Yeah. Even if you could argue 110% and be sure 110% that, so let's say you don't have free will and you're a victim of circumstances, I think just having the mind frame of being responsible for your situation and playing the cards you're dealt, regardless how shitty your cards are, will bring you a lot further in your life than if you just complain and moan and point the finger at the people that have what you lack, right?
Well, because it's a scarcity mindset.
Yes.
And when you think if you think with a scarcity mindset, that is what you're going to attract in your life. It's a universal law of the universe, and like we talked about on the last podcast, having an abundance practice and being grateful for what you already do have and not taking that for granted.
Yeah.
That is the starting place.
Yeah.
Because this person, I feel has a lot going for them, but I feel sometimes that they focus on the negatives rather than focusing on the positives.
Yeah, we all know these type of people,
right? And that would be my advice to them, and trying to pick apart my tweet on Twitter, because I mostly use Twitter for fun. I don't really care what people say about me on the internet. It's kind of whatever. Yeah. I just kind of use it as an outlet for comedy most of the time.
Baby Yoda
and baby Yoda, just to keep my, yeah, exactly. That's right. The internet is for Baby Yoda. Okay.
I think you spread 90% of the Baby Yoda memes in the world right now.
I wish 90%. That's a little low. I was thinking 99.
Yeah. You might be right.
Within my friend group, definitely close to the 90%. I'm like this far away from starting my own fan page, but I just honestly don't have the time.
Yeah. Good thing you don't have the time, because I think like the Earth would just look like a Baby Yoda.
Don't you know that we live on a Baby Yoda flat Earth?
There's a Baby Yoda looking asteroid circling around the sun. What the hell is this?
Yeah,
that's what the aliens would be saying.
It's got your name on it, John. It's coming for you.
Okay.
It's gonna put your house a smoking crater in the ground.
Do you think Baby Yoda has a scarcity mindset?
I think yes. No. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Would you be disappointed in Baby Yoda if he had a scarcity mindset?
Well, we should ask him on the podcast. Our celebrity choice. My celebrity choice is, I changed it to Baby Yoda.
To Baby Yoda.
I want to talk to Baby Yoda. That's my choice.
All right.
Your turn. That's my choice. Baby Yoda for president 2020.
Baby Yoda. Okay.
He could start his own political party, the Jedi Party.
Okay.
Only have Force users.
Wow. If there's any doubt who's a Star Wars fan here, it's not John Wynn.
No, it's your worst nightmare.
It's yours truly, Bill ETE.
No, your worst nightmare.
But besides Baby Yoda, who would you like to have on?
My second choice would be Keanu Reeves.
And why is that? I think that's a cool choice. Actually, he's supposedly very humble, but I'm curious to hear your reasons for.
Because he is one of the most introverted actors I've ever seen in public, and I very much identify with his character, both on screen and off screen.
Gotcha.
And he owns his own motorcycle company, Archer Cycles. He's just generally a badass.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And I think he'd be great to have on a podcast.
A friend of mine, when I was a teenager, she met him, and this is like when the Matrix just popped out. She used to model in Tokyo, and she met him there. So, and yeah, everyone, well, her, but like every interview you hear YouTuber or whatever, because like he did a lot of promotion. Well, I think he's kind of like one of the characters in this new video game called Cyberpunk 2077. That's
Yes.
coming up. Yo, man, like I'm a huge fan of the cyberpunk genre, man. Like everything that's futuristic with dystopia mixed in it is I don't know. It's like one of my favorite forms of fiction. But anyways, everyone that was like that had spoken to Keanu Reeves said he's a great guy, super down to earth, and supposedly does a lot of good actions. Like he sees someone in need, like his first response is to help these people out, whoever needs it at the time. And yeah, we need. There's another example. I mean, this guy has like massive success, massive amounts of money, and there you go, one of the best people out there.
He's just giving it away, his time and money for free. Like not a, so yeah. I've heard stories where he like hung out underneath a bridge with a homeless person and shit like that. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome, man. It gives hope to humanity, especially if someone that's living under a fucking bridge. I've been that guy when I was younger, and to have like someone like that like talk to me like a human being and not look at me like I'm a piece of trash. I mean, that's worth a lot, man.
Yeah, it is.
So yeah, that's a good choice. I'd totally be down to have him on our podcast one day, God willing.
Hey man, we're on an upward trajectory. I just seen
exponential growth. You've showed us the metrics. I'm actually getting excited here. We've been doing this for like just a few months now.
Wow, we're not quite a year in yet. We're getting there.
Yeah, I think we started in May or something.
May of last year, yes, sir.
Yeah. So 3/4 of a year, a little over. And I think you mentioned the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mr. Clint Eastwood himself. Yeah, I would love to meet Clint Eastwood in person.
Yeah, he looks like a cranky old man.
He is a cranky old man.
Yeah, and he's pretty much anti woke Hollywood establishment right now.
That's another reason why I want to meet him. I actually have his anthology here, 35 films, 35 years of Clint Eastwood.
Oh wow, nice.
My goal, not my goal, but like when I get old, I want to be like half as cool as him. Like the old man from Gran Torino is probably my ideal
really
my ideal version of myself when I get older. Just racist as fuck and give zero fucks. But have a heart of gold on the inside.
Mm-hmm. You want to be racist as fuck
on the outside,
but like super not racist on the inside.
Correct. Yeah.
It's what's inside that counts. No, I don't want to. I don't want to be racist outside or inside. I just want to be me.
I want to be Clint Eastwood.
This is a public service announcement. John Wynn does not endorse all of Bill Atay's views here.
When do you never endorse my views?
I always endorse your views, man.
Oh, come on. 80-20. 80-20.
It maybe, perhaps.
But on the whole, it's about 80-20.
You think I disagree with your views 80% of the time? Really?
No, you agree with me 80% of the time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, you agree. You agree 80%. We disagree about 20%.
I'm an agreeable, disagreeable person, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's accurate.
I mean, I have no hesitation to disagree with someone, but I think I reflect enough on different points of view and on different topics that I tend to, but I only surround myself with people that I can have like good conversations with online or offline, right? So um, I have trouble suffering fools, and for me that's like fun. It's just, we should definitely eventually have someone
Like
we really disagree with
like
on their
a polar opposite. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
I was
And
thinking the
have
same
a
thing.
civil discussion, but I will not hesitate to call bullshit when I see it. And I won't hesitate either to change my mind on something if you straight up show me why I'm wrong and why like your point is valid. If you're able to provide a logical um, point of view and demonstrate evidence for it, then I'm open to changing some of my points of view. I mean, my points of view have been evolving for years now, so it would be interesting.
Who would be your pick for celebrities to come on the podcast?
Well, I know it would vary. Next week it would be different, but I'd say right now, and I think I would love to talk to Joe Rogan for sure. Um, I think he's just the fact that he's had like deep conversations with so many different people of all like different people in so many different spheres and industries and um, our artistic ventures and stuff. And the creme de la creme, be it scientists, actors, musicians, and so on, that someone that like in his own personal right, his own career and all that, that's done so much. That's been so versatile. It would just be super interesting picking the brain of someone like that. Plus, he's a comedian, and I like being around funny people. And I think the second person is, even though he's not technically a comedian, Snoop Dogg is fucking hilarious, man. He's one of the funniest celebrities out there. And for me, like since I grew up a lot on like '90s hip hop and all that, and he was like on the forefront. I mean, this guy was like side by side with Tupac Shakur. I mean, he went through the whole death row situation in the '90s, which was like complete fucking crazy ass gangsta shit right there. It would be interesting to talk to someone that was surrounded by so much negativity growing up in the gang culture in the U.S. and being a successful fucking artist. And I mean, this guy is like a regular on these late night talk shows like Jimmy Kimmel and so on. I mean, the guy's beloved by the corniest straight edge white folks now. You know,
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
it is. And I mean, like he was like their music was trying to get banned by the FBI back in the day. I mean, there's a whole host of rappers and other musicians, not just in rap and all that I would love to talk. But like right now, I would say like Snoop Dogg would be like, uh, just for comedic purposes, it would be it would be funny. It would definitely add a lot of flavor to our podcast for sure if we had him on. It would definitely be entertaining, but just for the comedy aspect of it. But a lot of real intense stories in between too. So Joe Rogan and Snoop Dogg. I mean, there's a host of other people. I would love to interview famous people. But as of now, right now, that's who I would like to see. If you said right now, make your choice right now, that's who I would say right at this point in time.
What about Jordan Peterson?
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about him. Having Jordan Peterson on would be a dream come true, man. What a brilliant guy. What a like. I had no idea. Like, we had talked about it like 4 or 5 months back that we heard that he had checked into rehab for not opioid abuse, but barbiturates.
Benzodiazepines.
Exactly, benzos. Exactly. And that sucks. But we had no idea how bad it was.
No, I didn't. I just kind of like brushed it under the carpet a little bit. But I have
I just knew recently. She like last Friday's, I think, is when Michaela's video came out, and like he's in Russia now getting treatment.
Yeah.
And like he came from inches from his death, and that would be fair because this guy was already deep into philosophy and even spirituality and psychology all mixed in one. And he dug very deep into, you know, the archetypal aspects of humanity. And now being that close to death, I can only imagine if he comes out of it intact and all that. I can only imagine how deep his understanding of the human condition is at this point. I would love to have him on, and I send out whatever, if this is real or not. I send him my best energy, my best wishes, and I really hope to see this guy recover. And to all you fuckers, especially all you fuckers that are laughing right now, y'all can go fuck yourselves. I mean, they're like publishing disgusting articles on how like he just got what he deserved and all that stuff. I mean, I'm sure like you guys are the cause, man. Like, this guy has been fighting for, you know, a rational point of view for the younger generation to, you know, for ways to cope and live a better life. And people have just been dumping shit on him, constantly twisting his words and making him sound like a far right fanatic extremist, when all he's basically saying is like, take responsibility for your life. You know, be careful. Be careful. Be careful of the dangers in this existence, and like you know, understand that this existence is not a happy-go-lucky ride, and you know, be strong, better yourself to make an existence for yourself, a life that's worthwhile living. All right, and that's being construed as a fucking hate monger and basically a Nazi. I'd probably be taking Xanax and fucking Ativan too to fucking calm my nerves before I bust someone in the head or something, man. Holy crap, man.
Good thing Jordan Peterson's not has different coping mechanisms, eh?
Yeah.
Crack some skulls up in here. Yeah. No, I was actually quite surprised by the depth of the video that the daughter released.
Yeah.
And I know they've been having problems, but I just didn't know the depth or the length or the extreme.
When did you see that video?
I watched it yesterday.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You mentioned it to me, but I'm not always the most plugged in. It popped up on my feed, and I was coming around to it at some point.
Yeah, and you just went through like a pretty harsh flu, right? So
Yeah, I got sick in the States and I had to go on antibiotics, and I'm coming back from that now and getting back into my routine in Canada, and which involves a certain amount of media, but I don't live my life around media, consuming media. I try to have a fairly limited media diet.
exactly, you don't consume media. You expatriate media onto the net,
I
namely Baby Yoda.
That's right. Um, Baby Yoda is
This
my
this was my last Baby Yoda joke. So
no. It won't be though. It's your worst. It's your worst nightmare, John.
okay,
Baby Yoda is gonna haunt your nightmares. I will make sure of that.
all right.
I will start sending Baby Yoda to your house.
Oh damn.
I know where you live. Uh, Also, listeners, if you would like to send us Baby Yoda, I will gladly provide an address if you contact us at our business email. But that's your prerogative. I won't force anyone to send me Baby Yoda. But if you want to, uh, you can contact us at our business email.
Gotcha.
Uh, do you want to wrap up with love versus nature, or do you just want to call the episode?
Well, I guess we could put that. I would actually like to dig into it a little bit more, refresh. Like I said to you before we actually went on air here, it's a part of me would say it's a force of nature, and a part of me would say it's just a biochemical reaction. So I think I'm going to dig more into it to have a more holistically firm answer, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say wrap it up. Let's start wrapping this episode up. As I'll let you talk about our social media and all that, how to reach us.
Yeah, sure. We are at Doomer Bloomer at Twitter, at Instagram, Facebook at Rational Monsters. Not the most active on Facebook. You can reach us. Our business email is themapletrues@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, or any other platform, please leave a review of our podcast. It helps us out immensely.
Yeah.
And
we also have our YouTube channel, Doomer Bloomer Podcast.
Yes. Which all of our episodes go to that YouTube channel. If you are a listener of the show, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Helps us out immensely. We also have a Patreon, the Doomer Bloomers Podcast Patreon. $5 and you become a Baby Yoda subscriber. I have to change that.
All right.
Baby Yoda level. You'll get to Baby Yoda level if you buy me a coffee.
$10. $10 turns you into Embryo Yoda.
Embryo Yoda. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean that's the cutest of all the Yodas.
I'll have to update our Patreon now. Thanks, John. Give me more work to do. You can also reach me directly at Bill_ETE at Twitter and Instagram. I will try to be engaged. I'm not always on there, but if someone sends me a message or tweets me, I will respond.
Yeah, man. We good like that.
We good like that. In the near future, we will be having some guests from out of country. We have discussed this, right, John?
Yep. We're gonna have some people from Russia, which will create a very dynamic episode. We're gonna be talking. We will really have a East versus West point of view on this podcast, and not versus in the sense that it's going to be conflictual, because they sound like actually pretty damn cool people. But it'll definitely be very fascinating perspective on what's going on, because like from what you've been telling me and what I've been reading in our dialogues and stuff, is that they're pretty up to date on what's going on here in the West, right?
Yeah, they have a lot of access to the same media that we do. It just goes through Russian channels, to my understanding.
Yeah.
They have Apple, they have Android, like they have a lot of the same things, but Das Comrade Russia, it's a bit different. And in Mother Russia, car drive you.
Well, sorry. The thing is we do.
You never heard
God
that?
Damn, Bill. Lay off the pipe.
All right.
But
wow.
But yeah, it's going to be like, well, I won't speak for you, but I don't have the impression that, well, I know for me, I really don't know much what goes on within Russia, right? And what's like the typical person, like we have like a certain understanding of the politics on there, but even that's kind of nebulous for us. So to have like the perspective of just, a normal citizen of Russia that knows a lot more about our culture than we do about theirs, and what's their perspective on it all, and also learning about their culture, I think is going to make an absolutely, it'll be probably one of our best episodes from that point on. So really looking forward to having them on. And this it'll probably be our next podcast, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so. It'll be early mid March for sure.
Okay.
We're gonna try and work out the technicalities before we get there, just because of the time differences and technology issues.
Yeah.
I've had a preliminary Skype with this individual, and they're pretty chill. They're pretty cool people. So
yeah.
I'm looking forward to having them on. You know who you are, Alexis.
They do now.
They do now. Name dropping, anyways. But yeah, we'll get together in the near future here, and it'll be interesting conversation, interesting dialogue coming up.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so I think we've covered everything. We'll see you folks in approximately 2 weeks. Again, to all our listeners out there, thank you very much. And feel free to hit us up on social media, comments, wherever you guys hear this. And we will see you guys on the next episode.
Baby Yoda for president 2020.
Says Billete. John Wynn out. Cheers.